We're now entering the end of Pesach, the last days of Pesach, 7th day of Pesach, which marks the miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf, splitting of the sea. Magen Avraham Paskins, interesting, the Magen Avraham says, if a person sings the Shira, Oz Yosher Moshe V'nei Yisrael Hashira Azeh, it's the Shira that we say every morning in davening, that we're going to read, Shvi Shal Pesach, we're going to read it in the Torah. If you read that Shira, you are Yotzeh, you have fulfilled your obligation of mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim, Exodus of Egypt, which every Yid, every Jew is obligated to mention it every day. So this is also considered mentioning the Yetzias Mitzrayim. You sing the song, Oz Yosher Moshe. Some Sefer and Kivega, they attack the Magen Avraham. How could you say that? We know the following halacha. After Kriya Shema, we have a bracha of V'yatzav Enochem V'kayim Yoshu, which ends with the bracha of Gal Yisrael, the bracha of Geula, which we say in Shachris. And there we have mention of the death of the firstborn. We have there the story of Kriyas Yamsuf, and we have Yetzias Mitzrayim. So halacha says like this, Medrash says, if a person reads the bracha and he leaves out the death of the firstborn, the Makas Bechares, you don't have to go back. You don't have to repeat the V'yatzav Enochem. It's enough that you said the rest of it. If you leave out Kriyas Yamsuf, it's enough. It doesn't matter. If you leave out Yetzias Mitzrayim, you have to start again, because Chazal instituted the bracha on Yetzias Mitzrayim. So what do we see? Kriyas Yamsuf is not Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's two different things. If you leave out Kriyas Yamsuf, it doesn't mean you left out Yetzias Mitzrayim, but you have to say Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's not the same thing. So how could the Magen Avraham say, if you sing Oz Yosher Moshe, if you say the Shira, it's considered like you mentioned Yetzias Mitzrayim? The Avodas HaGershuni was the nephew of the Vilna Gaon. He says in the name of his great uncle, the Vilna Gaon, he says, we know that the 7th day of Pesach is considered the completion of Yetzias Mitzrayim. How do we understand that? So there's different approaches, so what does it mean that it's the completion of Yetzias Mitzrayim? The Vilna Gaon used to say, says his nephew, that until the Yidden saw the Mitzrayim being drowned, the Egyptians being drowned in the Yam Suf, it was not considered a complete Yetzias Mitzrayim. We have to understand why. Yetzias Mitzrayim was leaving Egypt. They left Egypt. They were free. So now they had another problem now. The Egyptians surrounded them and Hashem did another nace. But why does that mean that this was the completion of leaving Mitzrayim? This was another nace. So explanation is as follows. Rabbi Yerucham Olshin in his Sefer Yerach L'Moedim, the Lakewood Rosh Hashiva, he says as follows. He says, we know, the Netziv says, in Hamak Dover, why does it say that the Klal Yisrael V'yar Yisrael Se'el Degdel Asher Osa Hashem B'Mitzrayim, right before Oz Yosher, right before the song of Oz Yosher, we say, and the Yisrael saw the great arm that Hashem did to the Egyptians. It means obviously that He drowned the Egyptians in the Yam. Wouldn't it have been more appropriate to say, and the Yisrael saw the great arm that saved Israel? Why are we accentuating here that the arm which punished the Egyptians? There seems to be a special message here that Klal Yisrael sang the Shira, they sang the song when they saw the Egyptians drowning. Again, reinforcing what the Vilna Gaon says. We have to understand, what does that mean? Mechilta says, we said it in the Haggadah last week, that there's three different shitas. How many miracles happened on the Yam Suf? Whatever it was 5 times as much, because it says Yad, and in Egypt it says Etzpa, so we know it was 5 times as much. Whatever it was in Mitzrayim, by the 10 plagues, it was 5 times as much at the moment of the splitting of the Red Sea. If it was 10, then here was 50. If there was 40, then here was 200. If there was 50, then here was 250. What is this? What does this mean that it was 5 times as much? What is this referring to? So Rabbi Yerucham says, what it's referring to is that we know that when Klal Yisrael saw the Egyptians drowning, we know it from the Shira itself. We have 3 different descriptions of the Egyptians drowning. Either it was like straw, kakash, or it was ka'even, like a stone, or it was koiferes, like lead. We know that straw is lighter than a stone, and stone is lighter than lead. Lead is very, very heavy. What does that mean? We know the famous Medrash says that every Mitzri got punished midah keneged midah. The Egyptians threw the Jewish children into the river and killed the Jewish children, and here they got killed again, midah keneged midah, exactly like they killed the Jewish children in the river. They got killed in the water of the Yam Suf. But it didn't just happen that they all got killed. They all got killed in different ways. They were very, very evil Egyptians. They were happy to throw the Jews into the river. They were like straw. They got thrown around. They suffered terribly before they were killed. Then there were those that were not so bad. Beinani. They were like stones. They were thrown out a little bit and then they sunk. And then there was the ones that were like lead. They sunk right away because they were, in relation to relative to the other Egyptians, they were pretty okay. Of course, they were Rishayim, and they beat the Jewish people, and they terribly persecuted the Jewish people, but in relation, relative to the other ones, they were not as bad, and therefore their einish was also, their punishment was also not as bad as the other ones. They sunk quickly. The Jews, when they sang the Shir of the Yam, they pointed out these three types of Egyptians. Why? Because this was the culmination of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Until this point, there was still a little bit of doubt. Maybe it's some sort of magic, the 10 plagues, we left Egypt, okay. But they didn't get punished, and they all tortured us, and they persecuted us. And now Hashem showed them, they're getting punished. Not only they're getting punished, look at them. Each Jew noticed his Egyptian. Oh, I know that guy. He's the one who hit me. He was so terrible. Oh, you see, he's suffering much more than the other ones. And another one said, well, mine wasn't so terrible. He's suffering less. And the Jews saw the tremendous hashkacha that each Egyptian got not only a punishment, but his specific punishment tailor-made to him. This was the point at which the Jews began to sing the Shir Hayam when they realized that from the moment of the first Makkah, Makkah's Dam, through Makkah's Becheres, through the Yetzias Mitzrayim, and until this moment, it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu tailor-made for each of the Jews, because he was giving the einish to the Egyptians tailor-made. So obviously the hashkacha was, for every Jew when he's leaving Mitzrayim, was for him a specific and a personal Yetzias Mitzrayim. How did they see it? They saw it when they sang the song, the Shir Hayam. So the Magen Avraham doesn't say if you mention Kriyas Yamsuf, that's enough. He says if you say the Shir of the Yam, when you have that emotion that the Klal Yisrael felt at that moment, and when they sang the song, they related to the fact that Hashem punished each one of the Egyptians to their specific einish, like the Avodas HaGershuni says in the name of the Vilna Gaon, and that was the culmination of Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's the 7th day of Pesach, which began a week ago when we sat at the Seder and we said over the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and now we're at the culmination when we're singing the Oz Yashar Moshe, when we're singing the song. Not when we mention Kriyas Yamsuf. Magen Avraham agrees to the Chasam Sofer. Mentioning Kriyas Yamsuf is not enough, just like mentioning the Makkah's Becheres is not enough. But if you sing the song, then you realize how everything comes together at this point. So you're actually mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim. You're not talking about Kriyas Yamsuf. You're using Kriyas Yamsuf as a springboard to talk about the Yetzias Mitzrayim, about the whole story. You're talking about Kriyas Yamsuf, but you mean Yetzias Mitzrayim. We go through many trials and tribulations in our personal lives. As a nation, we go through terrible times. At the end of the day, when it will be clear to the entire world, Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, at that point, when we'll be able to sing once again, Oz Yashir, like Chazal teach us, is a remes to Tchias HaMeisim in a Torah, because there's going to be a time when we'll be able to once again sing a song, and be able to, in that song, talk about how the entire Golus, the entire journey, our terrible bloody journey through Golus, was all a pathway to be able to reach the time of the coming of Mashiach, and we'll be able to see how everything comes together, and we'll once again be able to sing the Shiras of Moshe, Oz Yashir Moshe, together with Moshe B'nai Yisrael. May it be b'meheira v'yameinu and v'zeicha this year to be able to sing that great song. Please don't forget to subscribe. You'll get the video every week by subscribing. Put a like. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos.